Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're taking a deep dive into Telefonica Brazil. You probably know them as Vivo. And wow, did they have a spectacular 2025. The numbers they just posted tell this amazing story of smart strategy, incredible efficiency, and just a ton of cash. So let's jump right in. All right, let's just start with the headline number, the big one, 9.2 billion Brazilian reais. That's the amount of free cash flow Vivo pulled in for 2025. And look, that's not just some giant abstract number. It's up 11.4% from the year before. That tells you this isn't just a company that's growing, it's getting ridiculously good at turning its sales into actual hard cash. So that brings us to the big question for today, right? How on earth did they do it? I mean, how does a massive telecom company in a super competitive market like Brazil build a cash machine this powerful? Well, it's not magic. It turns out it's this really elegant three-part strategy that's all working together perfectly. Okay, but before we get into the nuts and bolts of how the machine works, let's talk about the so what? Why does this all matter? Well, this huge pile of cash isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It's the grand prize. It's the whole point of the operation. And it has some huge implications, especially if you're an investor. See, when a company is swimming in cash like this, it has choices. And what did Vivo choose to do? They decided to reward the people who own a piece of the company. We're not just talking about paper profits here, we're talking about real money going back into shareholders' pockets. And you'll see just how big a deal that is in a bit. So now that we know what this machine spits out, let's pop the hood and see how the engine actually works. All right, part one. Every great machine needs a powerful engine room, right? For Vivo, that's its core business. It's rock solid. This is the foundation that everything else is built on top of. This massive, stable base of mobile and fiber customers that just keeps the whole thing humming along. And you can really see the two pillars of that engine right here. On one hand, you've got their huge postpaid mobile business. We're talking over 70 million customers. And on the other, you've got their fiber business, which is just growing like crazy. But here's the real kicker. It's not just about getting new customers. It's about keeping them. Just look at those churn numbers, 1% for mobile and a record low 1.4% for fiber. Those numbers are insanely low. It means people aren't just signing up, they're sticking around for good. So what's the secret sauce for that kind of loyalty? Well, a big piece of the puzzle is right here in this quote from the CEO. It's something called Vivo Total. Basically, it's their big offer that bundles mobile and fiber together. Think of it like superglue. Once a customer has both services bundled, they're way less likely to leave. It makes the whole service stickier and just locks in that reliable monthly revenue. Okay, on to part two of the machine. Having a solid core business is awesome, but let's be real, just selling internet and phone plans can become a commodity. So to really kick things into high gear, you need an accelerant. And for Vivo, that means building new, fast-growing digital services right on top of that customer base they already have. And this chart, this tells the story perfectly. Yeah, okay, the core connectivity stuff is still the giant piece of the pie, but look at that new businesses slice. It's already grown to more than 12% of all their revenue. That's huge. It shows you that Vivo isn't just a phone company anymore. They're turning into this much bigger digital world for their customers. And this is where you see the rocket fuel. I mean, just look at the difference here. The core business, it's growing at a nice, respectable 5.4%. But the new digital stuff for businesses, it's absolutely exploding. We're talking nearly 30% growth. That's more than 5 times faster. The key thing to get here is that this smaller part of the business is punching way above its weight. It's the engine of their future growth. So what are these new businesses anyway? Well, it's a whole mix of things. For other companies, they're selling things like cloud services, IoT, and cybersecurity. And for you and me, the regular consumers, they're getting into video and music streaming, selling electronics, and even health and wellness apps. It's a really ambitious and broad strategy. Okay, so let's recap. We have a stable engine room, and we have a high-growth accelerant strapped to it. That's awesome for bringing in money. But the third, and maybe the most important piece of this machine, is the part that actually turns all that revenue into cold, hard cash. And that's the efficiency gear. Basically being super smart and disciplined about every dollar they spend. Now, to really get this, we have to talk about one quick financial term. It's called the CapEx to revenues ratio. Don't worry, it sounds more complicated than it is. All it means is, for every dollar the company makes, how many cents are they spending on big-ticket items like building new cell towers or laying down fiber optic cables? The lower that number, the more efficient they are. Simple as that. And this chart just lays it all out plain as day. Look at the top row. Their CapEx ratio actually went down. So they're spending less of their income on infrastructure. But now look at the bottom row. At the exact same time, their operating cash flow went up by almost 2 billion reals. That's the magic right there. That's the efficiency gear at work. They're literally spending less to make more cash. It's incredible.
So let's put it all together. You've got this powerful core engine, you've got this high-speed growth accelerant, and you've got this super-tuned efficiency gear. And when you combine all three, well, that's when you get to the grand finale, the whole point of building this machine in the first place, a huge, massive payoff for the investors.
Get ready for this number, 103.4%. That's their payout ratio. Let me say that again because it's kind of nuts. For every single dollar of profit they made in 2025, they gave back more than $1 to their shareholders. How's that even possible? Through things like stock buybacks and dividends, it's just a massive sign of strength and a huge vote of confidence in their own future. And this isn't just some one-off fluke. Nope, they've already promised to hand out another 7 billion reais in 2026. The message they're sending to the market couldn't be clearer. This cash machine is here to stay, and its main job is to pump out value for the people who own the company. And that leaves us with one final, really interesting question to think about. Vivo has built this incredible machine to grow its business and print cash. But the company's own leadership has pointed out that the fiber market in Brazil is really fragmented, lots of little players. So with all this cash sitting around and a market that's just begging for a shakeup, you gotta wonder, is their next big move to just start buying up the competition? Now that could be the next really exciting chapter in the Vivo story.